Hi everyone, welcome back to this training pathway series. This is the third video in our series. The first video, what did we cover off? We covered off the basics of analytics, navigation, working your way through it, selecting funds, searching for funds, that sort of stuff. Second video, we went through fund research and fund analysis. This one is probably going to be one of the shortest out of the all videos in this series. This is going to be portfolio reporting. There's a couple of features here that allow you to very quickly take a portfolio and create a nice report from it. Now, we'll start with actually just creating one-off content and actually just stitching that into your own reports. You don't necessarily have to use analytics as a report writing kit, but then I'll show you other features that have been purpose-built to be able to take that data and create relatively configurable reports where you can kind of chop and change the output based on what you want to see. So starting off where I just left off there in terms of actually creating your own content and stitching it into your own report. What I mean by that is analytics has got some really flexible charts. So yes, you can create 5-year charts, generic 3-year charts, but you can also do stuff like create scatter charts and regular savings charts, which will cover off probably in the next video. But I could create a chart that has a regular investment amount of £500 a month. You know what? Let's just do that now. Take my model portfolio 3, and I want to create a chart over the last 5 years. But I don't just want a lump sum chart, which is available on the feature I was just selected on a second ago. I want to create a chart that shows someone what £500 a month looks like going into that model over the last 5 years. So I can very quickly flip that to regular saving. Nothing goes in on day one, but thereafter, £500 a month thereafter, and just generate. And that's what I mean by pretty flexible. You can start adding in and baking in different bits of logic and actually creating different return series. And I could do the same with withdrawal as well. So I could go in here and say, okay, well, actually, in reverse, someone starts off with £500,000 and is withdrawing £1,000 a month in drawdown. What does that look like? So that's a bit of content I might want to stitch into my own report. I might be using a reporting suite of tools and software solutions outside of analytics, and I want to start plugging in some of this output. That's not a problem at all. You can just simply hit print screen on your keyboard. So different ways of doing this. You could use a snipping tool as well, but I could just copy that bit of content. I could go into my imaginary report, Control and V, and there it is, and I can start writing around it. So comes to reporting, as I said, analytics has got great features that create reports for you, but never forget that you can just create one-off charts in analytics and one-off bits of content and then stitch that into your own email or report, etc. But in terms of the features that have been purpose built for reporting, particularly when it comes to a portfolio, and just to recap, a portfolio, I mean that there'll be any number of portfolios you've got under this tab, including the MPS solutions we've plugged in to our database. I can find a particular portfolio and click on add. And like I explained on the last video, every single fund's got a fact sheet, every sector's got a fact sheet. Well, guess what? Every single model has got, every single portfolio has got a fact sheet as well. And this fact sheet is a great place to start. It's called a medium scan. It's a bit like an X-ray, and it will crack open the portfolio and show you everything you want to know about that portfolio. It's got the overall portfolio performance versus the benchmark of your choice. Anyone that wants to know how to change the benchmark of a portfolio, there's a video for that. So just go onto the YouTube channel and search for changing a benchmark, and there's a video specifically devoted to explaining how that works. The benchmark can be whatever you want it to be, even bespoke benchmarks if you want to put one together yourself, if you're feeling adventurous. There's the performance of the portfolio, the risk, there's the underlying holdings of the portfolio, the performance, the ESG ratings, yada, 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 asset allocation, etc. So again, within a couple of seconds, I've now got a nice report that maybe this is a client that I don't really know much about. Maybe it's a prospect client and I want a nice little health check before I start running some analysis. Or maybe this is an established client. This is now a yearly review and that's now part of my service. As I said, though, these are quite flexible. So if I wanted to change aspects of the report, you've got these little settings tabs that I can click on. I can say, I don't want to look at 3-year, 5-year crown rating. I'd rather look at 1 year, 3-year, and FE funding for risk score. I can save that as a default. So the next time I create a medium scan, it's going to remember it, or I can just simply apply it to this report and hey presto, 1 year, 3-year FE risk score. Change various parts of the report as well, kind of the chunks of the report. So I can actually take out large aspects of it. Maybe they're the top 10s, the sector allocation, just show asset allocation, etc. And apply and save and I've got a little freeform text box, so nothing's stopping me typing a little introductory or a little introduction or summary, outline the report before I PDF and send to the client. As I said, we call this a medium scan. The reason we call it a medium scan is because we've also got a short scan and a long scan. So there's actually three of them. And the way you get access to all three of them, medium scans there, settings tab to the left, you've got all three options straight away: short, medium, and long. So 1 page, 2 page, 5 page. So let's start with short scan. As you can imagine, it's basically the medium scan, but just condensed a bit. So this just looks at the overall portfolio, doesn't look at all the underlying holdings and go into fine granular detail about the ratings and the performance and the charges of each fund. It looks at the overall portfolio: charge, yield, performance, asset allocation, performance against that benchmark you set. And again, PDF onto 1 page, your logo. That's just a fact sheet of your portfolio. And just lastly, long scan, just quickly whilst I'm here, take a few extra seconds to load up. But again, as you can imagine, medium scan, but just a bit broader. So it goes into a bit more detail about the asset allocation, how that asset allocation is put together, gives you sand charts to show the history of that asset allocation as well, gives you scatter charts too. And again, similar to before, there are little tabs along here that I can chop and change and condense that down to 4 or 3 pages if need be. Similar to the medium scan, these charts can be flipped to whatever you like just by changing that option. All the way down to, there we go, there's a detailed asset allocation and stock overlap as well. Okay, well, it can show you that 2 of your funds invest in AstraZeneca to the tune of 1% of your portfolio invest in that one company. So that's a lot more detailed, and again, similar to before, just PDF when you're ready, send that across to the client. The probably the nicest report you can create though on analytics. These are by far and away the easiest ones, because as you've seen, it takes me literally a matter of seconds, and up pops a really nice report. So it's quick and easy. On the right hand side, there's a report over here called Custom Portfolio Report Builder that allows me to design my own. So I can build my own template into the system. So let's pretend I've never used this system before, so I've not got any template. So I can click on Report Builder, loads up a little design screen, and I'm just working from left to right. I'm just saying, okay, well, what do I want my report to look like? Yep, would love it to include that first page. So that's a given. That's now going to be the first page of my report. Would I like it to include this page that's going to focus on all of the underlying holdings within that portfolio? Yes or no? Yep, ideal. Add that across and just work your way down. Add the ones you think are useful, leave the ones you don't. You have actually got the short, medium, and long scan as well, so you can really start messing around with this. You could say, okay, well, I want a report that is the medium scan plus all the fact sheets or the kids documents. But I will actually just add the fact sheets and kids documents at the bottom, and you can resort it as well, so you can move things up and down if you want to change the order. And once you're happy with the results, you just click on save and save that as a template. I've got one called my gold template that I use quite a bit. So again, you could have kind of gold, silver, bronze for different kind of range of service you're offering. But it just means that back on this main screen, I've now got this fourth option, however many options we're up to, where I can go and grab a portfolio on the left, go and throw that into my gold templated report. And then there's a couple of little extra features that I can utilize here to make it a bit more bespoke to me. So report title, at the moment it's model portfolio 3, but I want the report to actually specify this is for Mr. Baker and his review 2023. We'll just copy that. I want my advisor name in there as well. So I want to, again, personalize that to me. You don't have to do any of this stuff. This is just optional extras. But under commentary, this is quite neat. You can add as much text as you like. So I could really start laying out a nice summary saying, Dear Keith, we could talk about valuations. We could talk about risk profiling. We could talk about the markets. We could talk about RPI, cash, what I like about his portfolio, what I dislike about it, etc. And then just sign off with your details at the bottom. And add, as I said, add as much and much text as you like, and the system will just keep on adding more and more pages. There's not really much limit to that. But once I click on update and generate, that would look pretty horrendous. So I've just loaded one up in the background so you can see what this would look like. This is, again, your logo on every single page, a cover page, again, because I requested it, name of the client, name of the portfolio, name of me, and then the prepared date at the bottom. And as we start scrolling down, this is what I've requested. I wanted a page that lays out the summary of, again, portfolio summary, attitude to risk, portfolio review. This is me just bespoke writing it in. And then underneath that, then the report follows on. So there's the performance versus benchmark. There's the performance of all the underlying holdings. There's the underlying holdings again as a bar chart. There's the ratings. There's the scatter chart. There's the asset allocation. That's how diversified the portfolio is. And there's all of the fun fact sheets tied in at the very end. And then right at the very bottom, a glossary just kind of detailing some of the terminology we're using within the report. So they're the different options. Given that I keep mentioning benchmark, I feel that I should really explain how to change the benchmark, even though I did say that you should go and find the video yourselves. It is quite simple. If you open up a portfolio just by left clicking it, because you've seen a lot of these reports are structured that it will automatically take the benchmark of the portfolio. So what is the benchmark of the portfolio? Well, by default, the benchmark will be the FTSE All Share. So that will be what you'll see on most of the reports straight away. If you don't change anything, it's just always going to assume the FTSE All Share is the default benchmark. And arguably 99% of the time, that's probably not going to be a relevant benchmark you want to use. How do you change the benchmark? On the left-hand side, just find something that you do want to use. I think I was using the mixed investment sector. So I just simply found a different sector. Where's it gone? Mixed investment 40 to 85 on the left. And instead of adding that into my portfolio, I just hit the add as benchmark button and it just replaces it. And then I just got to save it to make sure the system recognizes that I've changed the benchmark. You can mess around with different options here, but another popular one is Financial Express, their growth rates. You know what? I just want my portfolio tracking something growing at 4%. I've told my client they should achieve 4% a year, and therefore that's now the benchmark. And on the reports, it's just going to be a line growing at 4%. Maybe cash is growing at 3%. Maybe I have a growth rate of 3% and say, look, I'm trying to kind of combat cash. Maybe you want a different portfolio to be the benchmark. You can see there's unlimited options here. Under portfolio tab at the very bottom here, I could say, look, I want my benchmark to be his existing portfolio I've built into the system. I'm recommending he goes and moves into Keith Baker, that is. I'm recommending he goes and invests into my Model 3. Well, he's already got a portfolio that I've built called Keith Baker Pension. So actually that can be the benchmark of this portfolio instead. And just lastly, if you click on this little tick box, it will build you a benchmark. It looks at all of the funds in your portfolio and what sectors they're part of, and it will just simply create a benchmark Model 3, and that's an aggregation of all of the sector averages. It's like a bespoke benchmark for that client just by ticking that tick box and then save. So quite a few options there when it comes to changing benchmarks, but it's all pretty simple. Find it on the left, add it as benchmark, or just hit that tick box instead, or leave as a FTSE All Share if you want to use that instead. I think that's about it. They're the core features and analytics that I'd use when it comes to portfolio reporting, from the very basic creating a chart and stitching into your own reports to actually using some of those scans and custom portfolio report to create to use and you kind of leverage analytics to create the report for you. Hope you found that useful. As ever, left-hand side, contact us for our help desk and chat with an expert in the bottom right.